Welcome back to another episode of The Final Word, the number one Pacers podcast on the web. I'm your host, Raj, and with me is none other than my dad as the co-host. Preston is actually taking a little bit of a vacation right now, so before we get to that, we do have a great show lined up for you, as always. But before we get to that, make sure you subscribe to The Final Word so you never miss a show. Also, if you guys would like to support this show and the podcast and sponsor us at the top level, go ahead and click the link in the episode description below. We will shout out your business, your cause, or just your social media handle each month. Also, you'll be added to a private Final Word community so you can hang live with me and Preston while the Pacers are smoking the competition. Or you can just go ahead and support by getting the professionally installed smart home security system by one of our top providers in the country. Just text smart home to 317-300-4750. That's 317-300-4750. So, like I said, Preston is taking a little bit of a vacation right now, aka that means he's in bed because it's kind of late. So the Pacers won. So Dad, what did you think about that?
Well, I was really impressed. It was really, I think, a exciting game. The last games that they've been playing lately, they've all been close games, but they're the type of game that you can go to and you can actually feel like you got your money's worth out of the game because the crowd's there and the crowds are just so into the game, and the Pacers are actually drawing energy from their crowd, and I think they feed on the energy of the crowd. That just sort of spurs them on. But they have been really coming together and doing a great job of being able to close games out when they're close in the end, in the last 3 to 4 minutes. They've been doing just an excellent job of playing through that time and not sort of sitting on the ball where it actually sort of gives the defense a opportunity to cause turnovers and to, actually score off of those turnovers. So they've been doing a good job closing things out. That's what I think about.
Yeah, actually, I agree with you 100%. It's really nice to watch this Pacers team just because, in the past, we could have like a 10-point lead, a 15-point lead going into the fourth quarter, and then you're just wondering how long they'll be able to hold on to it. Like it's like sand through their fingers, and just, you're just counting down. Now, there was, back when Victor Oladipo was here, in his first year with us in 2017, 2018, they were actually good at actually coming back and closing games out. So it's a little different though. It's a little different. We're not necessarily coming back, but we're hanging in there. It seems to me they're actually hanging in there the entire game. It's not like we're actually blowing teams out, but we're hanging in there. We're never within, we're never but more than maybe 10 away, but you can make up for that real quick. You can drop a few threes and then you're right back in the game. So it is nice to actually watch and not think how long is it going to be until they lose the game versus, I think they can actually make this happen because they're only down by 3 or maybe they're up by 2 and you feel, a little bit better about it,
Yeah, that's right. They've actually been getting off to a much better start lately too, and I think that plays an important part in the flow of the game and the way things go, because they don't have to spend as much energy trying to climb back in the game after they bury themselves in a hole.
Yeah, now I do agree with you for the most part, but today they actually got off to a little bit of a slow start in the first quarter. The Raptors went on a 12-0 run, and they were up by double figures early in the first quarter. But they did get back into it by the end of the first quarter, so I guess that's all it really matters. They weren't really in the negative for too long.
Well, when I say they put themselves in a hole, I mean, you can be down double figures. If you're down, let's say, 10 to 12 points, that's really not a whole lot of points.
Yeah, no, it's
that
not.
3-pointer, you can erase points right away.
Correct.
Okay.
And speaking of 3-pointers, the Pacers actually only hit, I believe, 10 of 27 3-pointers this game. So, but it seemed, I don't know, it seemed those 10 that they hit seemed bigger than what they were, I guess. Because I know Buddy Hield hit some. I'm not sure how many Buddy hit. He hit a few at least.
Well, yeah, the point I think is in tonight's game is they didn't hit a lot of 3-pointers early on, but what they did do is they did a good job of getting into the paint.
They did.
Getting balls inside Miles Turner, and he did a great job of just settling in there, concentrating and making baskets, and also getting rebounds.
Yeah, he's doing a great job.
Third shot sometimes.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, he's doing a great job. I mean, when I look at Miles Turner this year, I'm very impressed by the way because he used to seem like when he'd be in the low post, he'd be kind of frantic. I don't really understand why he was, but it seems like he's very more calm, settled. He has his little turnaround, shot he'll do, and it's for the most part it usually goes in. But before, he'd do that little turnaround shot in the low post, and it seemed like it was like 50-50 or 30-70 or but now it's like he's he's more sure of himself. And I was talking to Preston about this on the last podcast, or one of the last podcasts. It seems like I don't know, I could be wrong about this. It could just because I think this is his 8th year or so, but it seems like because Tyrese and Mathurin and some of the younger guys are so sure of themselves, like Nembhard, they're so sure of themselves, they're very confident, so maybe confidence is contagious. I've never really heard that before, but would you say confidence is contagious? You think that could be a part of it, or you think it has to do with him just being the senior veteran on the team, wanting to lead by example? And what do you think the difference between Miles Turner, the way he's been in the low post this year versus before in the past, like even with Sabonis? I mean, you wouldn't.
Oh, okay. Well, I'd say confidence is contagious, but what's even more contagious is when the people on your team members have faith and confidence in you, and it also spills over from the coaching staff. I've often said one of the problems with Miles Turner was not that he didn't have the talent. The problem was he was not actually placed in a position to best develop his talents and to be able to display them. And I would tell people, I said, now, as the season goes on this year, people are going to really be surprised because Miles Turner is actually way more skilled and talented than people think he is. When Sabonis came to the Pacers, what happened was basically Sabonis was placed where they wanted to place him, and in order for him to be effective, he had to have his hands on the ball, and he had to get passes on the inside. Now, you can't have two big men playing inside and be open to receive passes. So Miles Turner was actually moved out to the arc, 3-point line, because they discovered he had a decent shot. He shot pretty consistent. And so when he did that, it would open things up for Sabonis. Okay? Then people would get upset with Miles Turner because he wasn't getting enough rebounds. Well, if you're out of the 3-point line, beyond that, you're not going to be in position to get rebounds. Okay, so now, by him playing a true center position, he's down in the paint, he's getting touches there in the paint, and he's close to where he can get rebounds. He can get offensive rebounds, and even tonight you could see he did real well on getting offensive and defensive rebounds and being really effective in the paint and scoring.
Yeah, he was definitely effective. I know he had at least 10 rebounds by, was it the half or was it the third quarter? I'm not sure, but I know Jalen Smith He had a double-double tonight as well. So yeah, the Pacers aren't actually doing too bad when it comes to the rebounding this year. I mean, I know they can always get better, but as far as the game went today, they had 50 rebounds total. The Raptors had 36. So I think that definitely speaks to the level of improvement or the availability that Miles has with his positioning.
Yeah, and this is something else a lot of people don't think about. When they talk about the core of the Pacers being so young, Miles Turner is only 26 years old.
Yeah, he's only 26. It's crazy. It's 8 years, but 26 years old.
He's not old.
No, he's not.
Okay, he's not old. So once again, he's now in a place where they're looking for him, and because of the experience he has, they're looking for him to be supportive and actually help the younger guys come along and develop. So when you look at Smith, Jalen Smith, he is getting better as he goes along. He's touching the ball more. He's even, when it comes to getting the ball outside and driving to the basket, he's starting to go and drive to the basket and drive strong. Okay, so as you look at that, he's getting fouls, and the other thing is they're doing a good job of hitting the free throws.
Yeah, they are.
And that makes a big difference too. Even when you look at Mathurin, he gets to the line. As a matter of fact, he's the most effective pacer at getting to the free throw line.
Yeah, he really is. He's really good at that, and I don't know. I mean, why? I haven't really been able to put my finger or my thumb or whatever on why he's so effective at drawing those fouls as opposed to other Pacers or other people in general.
Well, he just has a quickness and a savvy about himself. Some ball players have to develop confidence, but when he came into the NBA and he made a comment, a lot of people sort of thought it was out of place that he should say he thought he was just as good as LeBron James, and LeBron James would have to prove it better. Okay. Well, basically what he was saying is that's how much confidence he has in himself.
And you can definitely see that by the way he's been playing this entire year. And honestly, I told this to Preston. I may have said it on the last podcast, but there was something about Mathurin when he just got drafted, when he was still in his suit and everything. Something about I feel like I could see the confidence in his eyes. And then also when he had his interviews, I could see the confidence when he was speaking. And then when I saw him in preseason games, I could see the confidence while he was playing. I was like, okay, well that's preseason. Let's look and see how he looks during the regular season. Still same confidence. So it's like he looks like he's a player who's been in the league for honestly at least 3 years. You wouldn't think if you didn't know and you just saw him, you wouldn't think he was a rookie.
No, you wouldn't. And I think that's another a really important thing about the makeup of the Pacer team and the veterans and even their locker room. That locker room, and you can see it on the bench how they celebrate one another. It's when you can get guys pulling together and they really have a strong fellowship, then they just sort of feed off of one another.
Oh, I agree. And the bench definitely had it going. So if the bench had 54 points in this game, so they definitely pulled their weight. They helped the Pacers, and apparently the Raptors bench only had 7, so they weren't doing too much for them. So it's good for us. The bench didn't have any more than 7, because if they did, then they probably would have had a better chance at winning the game, I imagine.
Well, and don't forget now, the Raptors are a really good team.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, they're a really good team, so they're no pushover. and they're good at what they do. They do a good job of getting rebounds, getting on the boards, and they do a good job defensively getting their hands in the lanes. They got long arms, hands, and so they're a quality team. So when the Pacers play as well as they did, they had to play well just to be in the game.
Mm-hmm. So they're a top defensive team?
Yes, the Raptors are one of the top defensive.
Okay, well, I can definitely see that. I know they're definitely physical, so from how they were playing, especially that, was it the Anunoby? Is it OG Anunoby or whatever?
And yeah, he did it was hard to stop him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once again, they have some really good athletes.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, they are developing too. And that's one thing that as you look at the NBA now, there are a lot of young players that are in the league that really they have a lot of confidence. And they believe and they understand that if they're going to compete, they got to go and they got to put in the work. Of course, now, I think that's something else, too, that can't be stressed. You talk about Buddy Hield and how he spends his time in the gym. Mathurin is actually the same way. He spends a lot of time in the gym.
Yeah.
And then I tell you, Rod, that McConnell, T.J. McConnell,
mm-hmm.
he is a real pest.
Yeah, he is.
He's non-stop energy. When he comes into the game, it's like he speeds everybody up.
Yeah, he's so fast.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think looking at him he'd be that fast. Like, he's like one of the fastest guys on the court. So. Because, he's not super tall, so his legs aren't that long.
No, he's not super tall, but he is quick, and he's always probing and looking to find someone open. And and of course, now you talk about Tyrese, as great as Tyrese is, he can attack the basket whenever he wants to. Whenever he's going towards the basket, he can see people in the corners. He see them wide open. He'll go up and pass right directly to the corner. Or sometimes he goes up and he sort of pulls the ball back and goes directly to the basket. I think it keeps the defense guessing. He keeps them off balance.
And he definitely has some good no-look passes today. I think he had a couple to Miles Turner in the first quarter. When we were kind of down a little bit, and I know he had a really nice no-look pass to Miles Turner. I can't really describe except for if you've seen him do a no-look pass, and you have an idea what it looks like. But it's just
he makes them all the time.
Yeah, he makes them all the time. It's very impressive. And so it's nice to have a player that's exciting like that. Because I don't know if we've ever had a player that's that exciting personally. I don't know. I remember Mark Jackson as being a good point guard and everything. I can't remember too much about his playing style. I'd have to honestly look in the archives and watch him play some games.
I can remember Mark Jackson playing. He did a good job of setting people up. He did a good job of handling the ball. He was a good player. Now, but he didn't have the height that Halliburton has, and
isn't he only like 1 inch shorter?
Well, that's the other thing. But Halliburton right now is actually he's young, and he hasn't filled out yet.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna fill out. He's gonna get a whole lot stronger. And being able to handle the ball the way he can handle it, all he's going to do is get better.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Also go ahead.
Yeah, something else I think is sort of exciting. You can see him and Buddy Hield have been together, and he says you look at Buddy Hield as his big brother, and you can see when Halliburton's going to the rim, you can see, you can see him getting in position to be able to pass and to hit Buddy with a pass. Or Buddy's getting in position, getting his feet behind the line, so when he gets that ball, he's ready to shoot that 3-pointer.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is, you can see sometimes Buddy will make a pass to Tyree right as Tyree gets himself behind the 3-point line.
Exactly.
and you can just see the excitement that the two of them have.
Oh yeah, definitely. So it's like, honestly, I feel like we got our own version of the Splash Brothers over here. I know nobody's gonna give them that credit, but the way they've been going, that's what it seems like to me. So yeah, we definitely got our own little Midwest Splash Brothers going on over here. So yeah, I definitely appreciate both of them being on our team. And to think, I'll be honest, Dad, I didn't really think it was gonna be. I wasn't really sure how this whole trade with the whole Sabonis and Justin Holiday for Buddy Hield and Tyrese was going to be, because honestly, I'll be honest, I thought, I mean, you could still say he's a major part, but I told you about this. It's like I thought Buddy was the main guy they were gunning after. I was like, oh, Buddy, okay, yeah, he's good, all right. It was like, who's this Tyrese guy?
But everybody wants to say he's old. He's old.
Yeah, he just turned 30.
And here's something. Yeah, that's interesting. He just turned 30, and 30's old.
Yeah.
But here's something you don't think about. A lot of people don't think about this. You know what the Pacers are actually doing?
What's
They're
that?
actually playing a 4-guard offense.
Right.
They're actually 4 guards on the floor, and then there's Miles being the center.
Or Jalen.
Well, when Miles isn't there, there's Jalen. And Jalen is the backup center, but he doesn't have a problem with that. He gets plenty of playing time, and he's just getting better as they go along.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another reason why the bench is actually so good, because you develop. Hey, but I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because I kept looking. Did you see Goga tonight?
You know what? I didn't really look for Goga, so I don't remember seeing him on the court. I do know that. So I didn't look for Goga. I didn't look for Tice. I just assumed they're not playing.
Well, I was looking for Goga, but I was wondering where he's at, because I know he hadn't been getting a lot of playing time. But I'll tell you something else that's interesting. Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Jackson must be injured.
Yeah, I think Jackson is injured. I think he is injured. So I'm not exactly sure what the injury is. I haven't really looked up on it, but I think he may be injured, because otherwise I think he would get a little more rotation. Well, I guess a little more rotation, getting none is, But yeah, I think he'd be in the rotation at some point. So, yep. But I'm really not sure about that. But hopefully, if he is injured, he comes back, sooner than later. I know I've seen Jax on the bench. So speaking of people injured on the bench, have you given much thought to Tice?
Daniel Tice.
Mm-hmm.
He had surgery.
Yeah.
And so that's one reason why you haven't seen him, because he's still not cleared to be on the court.
Mm-hmm.
He goes through conditioning. He's got people that are working with him, and they're trying to get him ready, but he's not ready yet to be on the court. Now, I tell you, you think he got traded, and you think, well, okay, he's not that important, but he can play.
So, do you think he's going
to play?
Do you think he's going to add to the chemistry on the court? Do you think it'll be a positive thing for him to be in, I imagine, with the second unit?
Well, the real makeup of the whole Pacer team, when I say they play together and they play for one another and they cheer for one another. Even the people that are on the bench that aren't playing, they still go to scrimmages. They're scrimmaging. They're in the locker room. They're really all a part of that atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't be a part of that atmosphere and not fit in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because you'll know where your strengths are. You know where your weaknesses are. Every ball player knows that. If they're gonna excel, they got to know what they need to work on.
Right.
Okay? And so, once again, if you got a quality ball player, and even if they're on the bench because they can't be in the starters, actually, the Pacers team, their bench is deep.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, it's really deep. A lot of people won't think of it that way. But once again, you notice their point production really seldom goes down when the bench comes in.
Yeah, that's
usually
true.
it's the bench that's getting them back into the game. So that gives the first team to actually sit down and relax and actually sort of get themselves together. Now, when you're playing as many games, because they don't really get anymore, they don't get a whole lot of time off, because they're playing back-to-backs, or if they're not a back-to-back, it's every other night. So you're playing 3 to 4 times a week. That's a lot of time on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot of wear and tear on the knees and things, because the game is a physical game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and everybody has come to realize that if you're going to be competitive, you have to physically let other people know that you're there. You got to give them a physical presence, because if you don't, they're just going to run over you.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. Can't have people getting ran over. So the Pacers definitely, I would say, have been a more physical team. They've been rebounding better. Now, one thing I did see, because I'm on the web, cruising through YouTube, and people still have their thoughts and feelings about Miles Turner, how we need to get rid of him. For whatever reason, I don't know if they paid attention or if they not paid attention. But Miles right now, I think last time I checked, he was averaging about 17 points and 8 rebounds. And that sounds great to me. I'm not sure what his blocks are. He's one of the best shot blockers in the league, so I'm not really thinking about that. But some people are like, well, he's not averaging a double-double, so we need to get somebody else who can get us some more rebounds. But they're not thinking about the entire team getting the rebounds. And so that's what I think is the most important thing, and that's what Miles brought up. I think maybe when he was getting interviewed by Jeremiah Johnson. But yeah, it's not necessarily about him getting the rebounds, really, because in the last game with Zubats or whatever his guy's name is, he was trying to stop him from getting the rebounds so his team could get the rebounds.
Right. And the thing is, it's good to get rebounds, but it's better to have a rebounding team.
Exactly.
Not a rebounder. One person, the other team can combat that. They can handle that. But when you got all 5 guys going to the basket, once again, and they're clashing on the glass, that makes a big difference.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, yeah. So once again, that means they all know they need to get positioning. They need to get inside, get people on their backs, and a lot of times, even if they don't necessarily get the rebound, but just being in position to go up, they'll get fouled, and because of that, they'll actually get a chance to go to the free throw line.
Mm-hmm.
And so that really makes things. It's really important that you need to have people who can rebound, people that understand the game and understanding the game. You know, if you get rebounds, the one thing that happens is they can do what they really love to do. They can get out and run.
Exactly.
You can't run till you get the ball.
Exactly.
So, yeah, so that's really important.
Yeah, and one thing I have noticed too, it seems like this team gives effort all the time as much as possible. Like even if their shot's not falling down, like Mathurin, his shot hadn't been falling down for a few prior games, and he wasn't averaging as many points. But it always seems like he's giving maximum effort, and that goes for Tyrese, Buddy. They look like they're giving maximum effort. Nembhard, Neesmith, all of them look like they're giving maximum effort. Especially Miles as well. So
it's because they understand it's necessary to give maximum effort, not just by one or two people, but you need a team giving maximum effort.
Yeah, and I think really that's the difference in these wins near the end of the game. These tight games. I'm not sure what the stat is right now, but I think the Pacers were like 13. Before a couple of games ago, the Pacers were like 13 of 21 games out of the 21 games that they had played that were really close games. They'd won 13 of them, and so they've won 2 more at this point. So yeah, they don't give up easy, which is nice to see. Now I would like to see them kind of blow some teams out. That's nice to see. Just so you can do that. But I think maybe possibly would their defense have to improve for that to happen? For that to actually happen, because it just seems like we're beating these teams and we're beating them by a few, but they're not really putting them away. Or maybe I haven't noticed. I mean, you've watched more games this year than I have.
Well, you got to understand something that's really important. There are a lot of teams that the Pacers were not supposed to beat.
Right.
If you talk to people, they wouldn't even give them a chance of beating them. But one reason why they wouldn't give the Pacers a chance of beating those teams is because they were viewed as elite teams.
Correct.
I mean, early on when the season started, you look at the Lakers and LeBron. Everybody saw them as being, real contestants in the East. Then you look around and you look at Miami, and you say, well, yeah, they're going to be real contenders. And when you start looking at the teams that they're playing against, you're looking at the players, you're looking at the veterans that they have that they're going up against, and you're looking at the young kids go up against veteran players.
Right.
Okay. Now, a lot of people, and it's sort of interesting, Roger. I'll often say this because you keep hearing it. Everybody says, well, they need to trade Miles Turner.
I was going to ask you about that, yeah.
Well, first of all, if Miles Turner is not good enough to be on the Pacers team, who's going to want him?
And I guess it's like, what would you really want to get in place of him right now? Because, I mean, they went after DeAndre Ayton, and I'll be quite honest, Dad. I'm glad that didn't work out. Because, honestly, looking at Miles right now, he is definitely more valuable than DeAndre Ayton. So, that being said, they got to pay him. Knowing what they offered him, they have to pay Miles Turner. I don't think they're going to get off with not paying him. I mean, would you agree?
I agree with you on that. But now, here's something else I'd like for you to think about. DeAndre Ayton was a good player, but you notice he had problems getting along with the coach.
Right.
Okay. And once again, the makeup of the team
Uh-huh.
is really being important.
Right.
DeAndre Ayton would not have done anything positive for the makeup of the Pacers team.
Yeah, his personality would have clashed.
And what people, I think some people fail to understand, you know what Miles Turner really wanted, and he hinted at it. He tried to say it the best way he could. He wanted someone to believe in him and give him the opportunity to show them who he truly is.
Oh yeah, I can
And
definitely see
that's
that.
why he's playing so well. It's because he has a team. When I say a team, I'm talking about in the locker room, on the bench, that believes in him. They look to him. Okay, he's got a coaching staff that believes in him.
Oh yeah.
That looks to him.
Yeah,
And
Rick
that's
Carlisle
something-
already had a relationship with Miles Turner prior, I believe, didn't they? Or was it Sabonis or something like that?
That did what?
Nah, okay. I was thinking Rick Carlisle had a relationship with Sabonis before he got here, because I think he was like, knew him when he was a kid or something like that. But no, I think what's the relationship between Miles Turner and Rick Carlisle prior to?
Well, there's really no prior. No, I think that Carlisle had a relationship with Sabonis' father.
Right.
Remember, Sabonis' father did play in the NBA, and he was a force.
Right.
And of course, now a lot of people don't really remember Rick Carlisle being a player.
Mm-hmm.
But Rick Carlisle was not just a great coach, but he was a good player.
Uh-huh.
Okay. But I think once again, though, the relationship that happens and comes about with Miles Turner is something you can also see with Rick Carlisle when you talk to him, and you talk to him about Mathurin,
Uh-huh.
or you talk to him about Halliburton, or you talk to him about Buddy, is he sees players that are dedicated and are willing to work and put in the energy and effort and be coachable.
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot of players that play that are really talented, but they're headaches.
Right.
Okay, and once again, that's why these guys are excelling the way they are, is because they're not headaches.
Yeah, exactly.
They're there to work and to lift one another up and celebrate one another.
Mm-hmm.
And Halliburton keeps saying, have fun. Have fun. Yeah, when you play the game right and you're doing what you need to do, you can have fun. It's good to make those no-look passes. It's good to see your teammate come in and have a monster dunk. And everybody says, like, I didn't know he could get up that high.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Just to see that excitement, that joy on their face when they hit those big buckets.
Uh-huh.
Okay, they closed in on it, they've taken the lead, but I can come down and I got a dagger for them.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I think that's the difference, and I think that's the real joy, that you can hear it and you can see it in the fans, in the stands.
Oh yeah.
Of course, since COVID, haven't been able to get out and get to a Pacers game. I'm really missing that.
Yeah,
but,
me too. Me too, unfortunately.
Yeah, but once again, just to think about being in a full house, a sellout crowd. You got people that are there and excited about being there. excited. I mean, a, most teams aren't going to win every game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anybody that has. But, when you show up to give people your best effort.
Mm-hmm.
And, you show up and you let people know, hey, we show up and we're playing not only for us, but we're playing for you. And I think that's the feel that the Pacer fans are getting this year.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just loving it.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I agree 1,000%. Yeah, so I do have one more question. I got a couple questions I want to ask you. So, in regards to, I mean, we have already talked about Miles, but Buddy, should we trade Buddy Hield?
There's no way we should trade Buddy Hield. Why would we want to trade Buddy Hield? We want to give away shooting?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
why?
And by the way, people, I wonder what his statistics are as far as pass assists.
I haven't really thought about his assists.
Buddy is far better than people would have given him credit for.
Mm-hmm.
As not only that, because everybody looks at him and thinks about him being a scorer, but they never think about him really being a defensive player.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he gets a lot of turnovers.
Right.
Gets his hand on a lot of loose balls.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. And so, if you're going to trade him away, would you trade Curry away?
I would never trade Curry away. That's why I said we got our version of the Splash Brothers over here. Because essentially, I mean, he's leading the league in threes right now, and that's not.
Yeah,
Steph Curry is not leading the league in threes.
If you trade him, who are you gonna get?
you can't go up. You're at the top. So it's like I really don't understand why people say this. I think sometimes people just get in the mode of, we got to trade up and we got to trade to get somebody better. Got to trade to get somebody better. So they get into this mode and this mindset that we got to keep on trading. Your grass is greener. The grass is always greener, but to keep on trading, and then you can never build chemistry if you have that mindset, because you're just always rotating people out like tires.
Mm-hmm. Interesting thing is if got the Golden State Warriors,
mm-hmm.
their core players are old.
Yeah, they are. Nope. But the funny thing, it's interesting how nobody talks about an all-star as being too old. Nobody ever talks about LeBron as being too old. I mean, I guess at this age they do talk about it, but he's LeBron.
Well, at LeBron's age, yeah. But at LeBron's age, there's a whole lot you can say about him.
Mm-hmm. But nobody even when LeBron was 33. Yeah, you can't. You can't. But even when LeBron was 33, I mean, nobody was saying he was old. Like Stephen Curry, I think he's 34. And Kevin Durant, I think they're all around the same age. Klay Thompson and whatnot. But nobody says they're too old. So, but it's funny how they say, well, Buddy Hield, he's too old, but he just turned 30. They were saying he was too old at 29. So it's like they give people different expiration date rules for whatever reason. I have no idea why they do this. It kind of drives me crazy why they do that. But yeah, Buddy Hield, he's not a superstar, but he's not an elite all-time player, so to speak, but he is elite at what he does, and he does it very well. He does it better apparently than anybody else in the league at this point, this year. So
yeah,
why you'd want to get rid of that, I have no idea. So I agree, we should not trade Buddy Hield ever. We should definitely not trade Miles Turner ever. Honestly, Dad, I would like to see them, keep certain people around for as long as they want to be here, and as long as everything's working out good, which would be obviously Tyrese Halliburton. He needs to just stay around forever. They need to make sure he never leaves. Buddy Hield, they need to make sure if he leaves that he leaves because he wants to leave for an opportunity that he wants to do. As far as Miles Turner, need to make sure he never leaves. And then, everybody else, I mean, it's kind of, oh yeah, Mathurin, make sure he never leaves as well. Make sure Mathurin never leaves. Everybody else, subject to, depending on what's going on in their career and whatnot. But I just think we really need to have a core group of guys that when you think about the Pacers, you think about these at least 4 individuals. Because I don't think we've really had that, for a while, really. I mean, the last time we probably had that, I'd say, would have to be maybe the Paul George years with David West and whatnot, that team. But right now we just need to establish some guys and keep them on the team, see how they grow together, and see how it turns out. But yeah, as far as Tyrese Haliburton, I have to ask you this: do you believe Tyrese Haliburton has the potential to be the greatest Pacer in history? What do you think?
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah, it is.
When you think about a Reggie Miller type player, talk about a guy that could fill it up. But Reggie didn't come in the first 3 years just filling it up.
Exactly.
He got better and better as he went along.
Mm-hmm.
And so you got to remember Tyrese is young.
He is.
And I'd say this: as long as he stays healthy, he'll be one of the greats.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be one of the greats.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because with what he does, the shooting percentage he has, it's going to get better. And his passing, all of that development, the strength, all that's going to come along. He's going to get better.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he'll be one of the greats.
But do you think he'll be the greatest ever at this rate?
Well, I can't say that he'll be the greatest ever. No, I can't say that.
Okay.
But then again, it don't mean he can't be either.
I think if anybody had the potential to be the greatest ever, it would probably be him. I'd have to say that. But you never really know, because Benedict Mathurin, I mean, people have, compared him to, Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant or somebody like that, or Dwayne Wade, so he has potential as well. So we never know. Honestly, I just hope they just grow together and get a championship. I think, honestly, this group of guys and this core has the best chance of any that we've had to actually get us a championship. Would you agree?
Well, I think they have good potential. Exactly when, because I do have to acknowledge them being young, so it's going to take some time for them to develop. And I'm talking about not just develop a game, but physically develop.
Mm-hmm.
Because you look at Mathurin now, and you think about his age, physically, he's still growing. And think about how much more muscle he's going to put on.
Mm-hmm.
And even at his age, he could put on a couple inches still.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just look at, if you looked at Siakam tonight, and you look at him, he's a guy that has really put on muscle. Because he was really frail when he first came into the NBA. And so, you look at those guys and you think about their work habits, what they do, their trainings in the off season. There's so many things that are there. And, once again, when you're in a culture and you're used to that culture, and that says, hey, we come to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
And the more fun we have, the harder we work. The more we win, the more fun we have.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you can just look at them and you can see, just like T.J. McConnell, when he makes a steal or he makes a pass and hits somebody open, going to the basket, just look at the joy and just in his eyes.
Right.
And it's just great to watch and see what we have in this year's Pacers.
I agree 1,000%. So I think we're going to wrap it up. It's been a great show. Dad, thank you for being my co-host today, taking the spot of Preston. You did a great job. We'll definitely have you back on again for sure. Preston definitely was wanting you to be on while we were on together, and we'll do that. But I might have you come on a little bit sooner than later again, because I think Preston's going to potentially not be available again. But I think we have the 76ers coming up tomorrow at 7 p.m. So we'll definitely be ready to watch that for sure, and tell you guys what we think about that. But until
Is
then,
that tomorrow?
Yep, that's tomorrow. 76ers, 7 p.m. So that's what it's saying right now, because you got to think about the time. But yeah, tomorrow, 76ers, 7 p.m. It's going to be a great game. And we will see you guys on the next show. Until then, be blessed.